Good morning, and welcome to the Motivational Devotional, where we are merging motivation and spirituality to create a daily dose of confident positivity. I hope that this morning's podcast will help you to be more spiritually and positively motivated so that you can transform your day.
I worked under a captain in the Air Force who said quite often that forgiveness comes easier than permission. I discovered more and more over the years that for the most part, that statement and philosophy is true. That's beside the point that with that man's personality, I doubt he ever got permission from anyone anyway, and that his bull-in-a-china-closet attitude worked better with his philosophy. He apparently never read Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, especially the chapter that you don't gather honey if you kick over the beehive. I saw him try to walk paperwork through for approvals, and all he did was kick over beehives and try pushing rank everywhere he went. He didn't realize it, but that was a form of permission that he was trying to get because he needed the person behind each one of those desks to hear what he said and say, okay. Instead, what he got every single time was, well, just leave it right here and I will get to it as soon as I can. There are two kinds of permission that we can get in life. One of them involves asking permission for things that are in someone else's territory. If I go to someone else's house, I would have to know them very well to just pull a glass out of the cabinet and get myself a drink of water. I would ask permission. That's their territory. Anytime I've worked where I had to occasionally spend money, such as a marketing director needing to place an ad or run a promotion, I needed to ask permission because the budget was my boss's territory. The other kind of permission is internal. And for some reason, a lot of us human beings have a harder time with this one than with the first kind. We have automatic messages that run through our minds when we think about doing something audacious, and we think, oh, I can't do that. We put the brakes on before we step on the gas. What things will you ask permission to do today? Will it be every decision you make, or do you have the authority to make most of your decisions and you need permission for only a few things like major expenses or time off, or moving to a different office? You won't have to ask permission to go to the restroom like we did in elementary school. You won't have to ask permission to eat that greasy hamburger for lunch if you want it. But you might give yourself permission for something much healthier. You won't have to ask permission to take a certain route home today. You won't have to ask permission to ask for help, even though lots of us won't ask for help anyway. That might be a good podcast down the road. You also won't have to ask permission to be successful in everything you do. You already have that. You see, you have your own territory laid out in your life. It is your family, your career, your significant relationships, and everything else that makes up the landscape around you. I'll bet you don't ask permission to take care of your family, and you don't have to ask permission to go to work and succeed at your career. You don't have to ask permission to love the people that you love, and you don't have to ask permission to be a good person. No one has to give you permission to make decisions for the highest and best for your own health and wellness. No one is driving your life but you. Your success is determined by your own choices. So here is a funny thing about that internal form of permission. Do you have a dream for your life written down? Do you have a few major goals written down that pertain to that dream, and you have deadline dates on those goals? If you answer yes to both of those, have you gotten started? If you haven't gotten started, but you have both of those, whose permission are you waiting for? If you aren't going to ask for permission to take care of your own family, why would you hesitate on your lifelong purpose? When will you get started? Remember that thing about forgiveness and permission? Picture yourself on your deathbed right at the very last of your life. Would you rather be trying to forgive yourself for never giving yourself permission to pursue your dreams, or would you rather realize that you never had to ask forgiveness from anybody for giving yourself permission and you realized your dream? Related to that scenario, I don't want to be on my deathbed and have the man I became meet the man I could have been, and find that they're nothing alike. I want to leave this world 100% the man I ever could have become and give myself permission to jump on that at 90 miles per hour right now. We don't have a divine blessing on every choice. Sometimes people make bad choices for a lot of different reasons. What we must do, though, is to stop waiting for permission to make choices that lead us into success. You can leave your limitations of your mind behind. We can keep the foot on the gas pedal more often than on the brakes, and instead of saying, "Oh, I can't do that," say, "Oh, for my dream and to achieve my goals, I'll try anything. Sure, I'll give it a shot. Let's go." You are already given all the permission you need because all of creation is already conspiring in your favor. Trust that the universe always has your back and has already told you, go for it. Marianne Williamson said, "As we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence actually liberates others."
Thank you for taking the time to listen today. Please help keep this podcast going by following the Motivational Devotional Facebook page, following @Threefold Way Radio on Twitter, and sharing the written format of today's message from motivational-devotional.com on your social media. I am deeply grateful for your support, and thank you for letting Motivational Devotional be part of your journey. Peace out. See you tomorrow.
Motivational Devotional is a production of Threefold Way Radio, LLC.